My name is Emma Mitchell, and I have been a hospice nurse for 15 years.
I have witnessed over 200 people take their final breath, but what they see in those last moments will change everything you believe about death. These are 3 deathbed visions that patients described right before passing. And the final one? It happened to me. I experienced what my patient was seeing as he died, and I will never forget it. This is what happened in those rooms. Margaret was utterly unforgettable. She was 78 years old with advanced Alzheimer's disease. For 5 years, she had not recognized her daughter, Linda. She could not remember her own name most days. She would stare blankly when Linda visited, no spark of recognition in her eyes. Linda sat by her bedside every single day, holding her mother's hand, talking about memories they had shared. But Margaret was gone. The disease had taken her mind years before her body started failing. When Margaret entered hospice care, she was in the final stage, sleeping most of the time, barely responsive. Linda knew the end was close. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was checking Margaret's vitals when something extraordinary happened. Her eyes suddenly opened, but they weren't the cloudy, confused eyes that had been there for weeks. They were clear, sharp, focused. She looked directly at Linda and said her name. Linda. Linda gasped. She hadn't heard her mother say her name in 5 years. Margaret smiled, a real smile. She reached for Linda's hand with strength that had not been there for days. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart," Margaret said. Her voice was steady, clear. "You've been such a good daughter. I know I haven't been able to tell you that, but I see everything you have done for me." Linda was crying. There were tears everywhere in that room. For the next 30 minutes, Margaret was completely lucid. She talked about memories from Linda's childhood. She asked about Linda's kids by name. She told her daughter she loved her. Then Margaret's expression changed. She looked past Linda toward the corner of the room. Her face lit up with pure joy. "Oh," she whispered, "he's here." "Who's here, Mom?" Linda asked. "Your father. He's been waiting for me. He looks so young." Margaret smiled wider than she had in months. "He says it's time to go home." Margaret squeezed Linda's hand one more time. "I love you. Don't be sad. I'm going somewhere beautiful." Then she closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. Within minutes, she was gone. Linda looked up with tears streaming down her face. "I got my mom back," she said, "even if it was just for 30 minutes. She knew who I was. She told me she loved me." This phenomenon is called terminal lucidity. It happens in about 1/3 of dying patients, especially those with dementia or Alzheimer's. Medical science cannot fully explain it, but it has been witnessed dozens of times. Right before death, something happens. The fog lifts. The person comes back. They have clarity they haven't had in years. They recognize loved ones. They speak coherently. They say goodbye. And then they see something the living can't see. Someone waiting for them. Margaret saw her husband, and she went peacefully, knowing she was going home. Margaret's story showed me that consciousness doesn't just fade away. It comes back. It sharpens. It sees beyond what we can see. But the second story I'm about to share, it challenged everything I thought I knew about the human mind, because this patient had never seen anything in her entire life. Until the moment her heart stopped. This story still causes chills. Her name was Sarah. She was 62 years old and she'd been blind since birth, completely blind. She'd never seen a single thing in her entire life. Sarah had terminal cancer. She'd been in hospice for about 2 weeks when she had a cardiac arrest. Her heart stopped. The code was called. The medical team rushed in. I was in the room. I watched the doctor perform CPR. I saw the defibrillator paddles. I watched them shock her heart back into rhythm. Sarah came back. Her heart started beating again. When she woke up an hour later, she was agitated, confused. She kept saying, "I saw it. I saw everything." I sat down next to her bed. "Sarah, what did you see?" She turned her head. Remember, she'd been blind her entire life. She'd never seen a face. She'd never seen anything. But she described the room in perfect detail. "You were standing by the window," she said. "You were wearing blue scrubs. There was a coffee stain on your collar." I looked down. She was right. I'd spilled coffee on my scrubs that morning. But how could she know that? She kept going. "The doctor who did the CPR had gray hair. He was wearing glasses. He kept looking at the clock on the wall. Everything she said was accurate. Every single detail. The defibrillator paddles were red," she said. "I saw him put them on my chest. I saw the whole room from above. I was floating near the ceiling, watching everything." The hair on the back of my neck stood up. "Sarah," came the careful question, "you've been blind your entire life. How could you see all of this?" She smiled. It was the most peaceful smile imaginable. "When my heart stopped, I left my body," she said. "I could see. For the first time in my life, I could actually see. The colors, the faces. Everything was so beautiful." "What else did you see?" "Light," she whispered. "There was this brilliant white light. It was warm, loving. I felt like I was being pulled toward it, but then they shocked my heart, and I came back." She paused, and tears rolled down her cheeks. "I wasn't supposed to come back," she said. "I was going somewhere beautiful, somewhere I could finally see." This is called veridical perception. It's documented in near-death research. Patients who are unconscious, or in Sarah's case blind, accurately describe things they couldn't possibly know. Medical equipment, people's clothing, events happening in the room. Dr. Pim van Lommel, a Dutch cardiologist, studied over 344 cardiac arrest patients. He found that some could describe their resuscitation in perfect detail, even though they were clinically dead at the time. Science cannot explain it, but it has been witnessed. Sarah lived for 3 more days after that. She said she wasn't afraid to die anymore. She'd seen what was on the other side. "There's light," she said, "so much light, and I could see it. For the first time in my life, I could see." When Sarah passed, she had a smile on her face. After Sarah died, I thought I understood deathbed visions. I'd witnessed terminal lucidity. I'd heard patients describe impossible things they couldn't have known. But I'd always been the observer, the witness, the nurse standing at the bedside, until the day I stopped being just a witness. The day I experienced what my patient was seeing as he died. His name was David. He was 55 years old with terminal lung cancer. He'd been in hospice for 3 weeks. David was a quiet man, kind, thoughtful. He didn't have much family. His wife had passed away 2 years earlier. His kids lived across the country and couldn't make it in time. So it was just David and I in the room when he started actively dying. I was holding his hand. It's something done for patients who are alone. Nobody should die alone. David's breathing was slowing. He had minutes left. Then something happened that I still cannot fully explain. I saw light. Not in the room, not visible to physical eyes, but it was there. A brilliant golden light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. There was warmth, peace, love so overwhelming it brought me to tears. And there was a figure in the light, a woman. She was reaching out toward David. I knew somehow that this was his wife. David's eyes opened. He was looking at the same spot where the light appeared. His face transformed. Pure joy, recognition, love. "Sarah?" he whispered. That was his wife's name. He squeezed my hand. "She's here. She's been waiting for me." The light grew brighter. I felt myself being pulled into it, not physically, but something deeper. My consciousness, my awareness. I was experiencing what David was experiencing. Time felt different, stretched, like that moment lasted forever and only a second at the same time. I felt Sarah's presence. I felt her love for David, the reunion happening between them. Then David smiled. The most peaceful, beautiful smile ever seen on a dying person's face. "I'm going home," he said. He took one more breath, and then he was gone. The light faded. The room came back into focus. I was sitting there, tears streaming down my face, still holding David's hand. But I wasn't sad. I felt peace, joy even, because I knew where David had gone. I'd seen it. I'd felt it. For those few moments, I'd experienced what he was experiencing. This is called a shared death experience. It's rare, but it's documented. Family members, caregivers, even medical staff sometimes experience the dying person's transition. They see the light. They feel the presence of deceased loved ones. They experience the peace. Dr. Raymond Moody, who coined the term near-death experience, has studied shared death experiences extensively. He found that people who experience them are forever changed. They lose their fear of death. They know with absolute certainty that consciousness continues. That's what happened to me. I have been a hospice nurse for 15 years. I have seen over 200 people die. But that moment with David, that changed everything for me. I don't just believe there is something after death anymore. I know it. I've seen it. I've felt it. These 3 stories are just a fraction of what I have witnessed in 15 years of hospice care. Margaret, who became lucid just long enough to say goodbye to her daughter and see her deceased husband waiting. Sarah, blind her entire life, who could suddenly see during her cardiac arrest and describe things she couldn't possibly know. And David, whose transition was shared with the light seen and his wife waiting to bring him home. Death isn't the end. It's a transition, a doorway. And what's on the other side? It's beautiful. It's filled with light. It's filled with love. It's filled with the people we've lost, waiting to welcome us home. I have seen it with my own eyes. And I am no longer afraid. If you've experienced something similar, or if someone you love has shared a deathbed vision with you, you're not alone. These experiences are real. They're powerful, and they're more common than you think.